What's a big industry secret that isn't supposed to be known by the general public? If you get in a car accident, and your insurance tries telling you that you have to or that you should take your car to a specific repair facility to get repaired, tell them to go fist themselves. You have no obligation to any insurance company or repair facility. You can take your car to any body shop you like to have the repairs done, and it's against the law for insurance companies to tell you that you can't. However, they often use tricky wording to make you feel like you have no say. Especially if you're a woman. Also, if a car repair shop tell you that you need to pay before they can give you your car back, they can't. Tell them to send you the bill and only on the thing you told them to fix. If they say, well, we fixed that one other thing and it's going to cost $200 more. Tell them, well, I never agreed to this and I will not pay for it. What if it was for legitimate damage discovered during the repair process? I'm unsure of what it would have to be for the mechanic to declare the car unsafe for driving, but I would assume it had to be something serious. But you better believe if I take my car into the shop to get an oil change and replace a tire, and then they say that they had to replace the windshield wipers, air filter, headlights, brake lights, etc. I'm not paying for it, since I only asked you to do the oil change and replace a tire. It would be like going into Walmart, buying a bag of chips and the cashier was like, that'll be 19.67, and you also bought a case of beer, a frozen pizza, and a bottle of shaving cream. Oh, I thought we were talking in the context of an insurance repair where finding more extensive damage is not very unusual. Sure, on just any other repair they can't just add stuff without asking. But where I am they do it all the time. I went in for a normal oil change and checkup. You know, because I want to know if there is anything wrong before I pay for it to be fixed. The guy then told me that he found a bunch of problem and went ahead and fixed them. I was like, I never asked you to do that. He told me, well, we did it anyway to save you time, here is the bill and it's like $500 more because of all the fixes. I told him that I was not paying for the fixes I never asked for. He said that if I don't pay he will not give me my car back. I called the police. It took 2 minutes, they gave me my car back and the other charge on my bill magically vanished. I agree that's total BS. Good work getting your car back quickly. If you have a Bank of America credit or debit card, and your card gets declined and you call and find out it was because of a data breach, the fraud department that you speak to is forced by the bank to tell you that they can't see where or when the data breach occurred, but we can see it. It shows us right there on our computer. It's really f***ing annoying for everyone involved, other than the bank apparently, since they're the ones that enforce this. It's a major problem because your card gets completely shut off right there over the phone, and we have to send in a request to have a completely new card and card number sent to you. Then, you wait about 2 weeks to receive it in the mail, and have to change everything you pay your bills onto the new card number. But if you go back to the store with that new card that had the data breach and they still haven't resolved the problem with the breach, then your card will be shut off again. Rinse and repeat. Please try not to get too angry at the people you talked on the phone. They don't work at BOA, they are just lowly call center workers, and they are fired if tell you where it happened. The bank is saving their own ass to not piss off big companies that don't want that info to leak to the public. Former fraud investigator of banks here. This is an industry-wide practice and nothing unique. The reason they don't tell the public is because, if the compromised merchant hasn't gone public, and you tell customers who the merchant was, you could be faced with a lawsuit for slander, defamation of character, whatever the legal team can come up with. It is very unlikely this would hold up in court, but the bank's legal department doesn't want to take the chance of dealing with it. Back when I was a fraud investigator for a bank, we had a vanilla folder hanging on the wall of the fraud department, which was 3 other guys and myself, which said on it, give to management if Walmart is compromised. Inside it was separate envelopes with each of our letters of resignation. But, why? The envelope thing? Why would Walmart being compromised make you quit? Because if Walmart got compromised, you are basically going to be reissuing 80% of the cards your bank has issued. If you are very fast at reissuing a card within the system, I was the fastest at just under 60 seconds per card. It would take you forever to reissue hundreds of thousands of cards. Also keep in mind that only about 3 companies in the US actually produce the plastic cards. When a big compromise, like Target, would happen, They deplete the warehouses and tax the system. You are looking at months of waiting for a new card if a giant like Walmart got hacked. I can tell you it is the fear of a lot of fraud investigators for the banking industry in the US. This sort of thing isn't automated. I would think they could look at a transactions database, pull all transactions for Walmart, get the card numbers associated with those transactions and then run those through some automated process to reissue the cards, then handle any edge cases manually if need be. I can't imagine doing all that work by hand. I guess job security though. Some of the big banks, the ones that couldn't fail, have the systems, but anything smaller than that it is usually all done by hand at the bank level and then submitted to the company that prints the cards. The bank I worked for would actually do a cost analysis to see if it was worth paying the printing company to make the list for us. For the size of the bank I worked for, if it was under 10,000 cards, it was all done by hand in-house. If it was Walmart, I am sure they would pay the printing company, but so wouldn't every other bank. It would still be a giant cluster F. Your children tell us nearly everything about what goes on in your home. Source: preschool teacher. I taught preschool for nearly 10 years, can confirm. We had a cop visit our school one day. He was the father of one of the teachers. He talked about being good, law-abiding citizens, and asked if there were questions at the end. I learned a lot that day about some of the families at our school. Some were a little too familiar with the police. Yes, they are way too familiar. Cops did a big drug sting here a couple of years ago. A few days later one of the boys, 4, came in and shook his head and was like, yeah, them pigs done took fat daddy. He ain't jetting no bail either. Haha, sounds like his parents were grooming a little thug. I miss working with little kids, sometimes. Grooming a little thug? Nah, that little dude is going to grow up with the sassiness of an old black lady. And if you've ever hung out with old black ladies you would know they're awesome people but very loud. Okay, now I see it. There's always that one kid with a big personality. Merlin Entertainments, the company that runs a wide variety of midway attractions like Legoland Discovery Centers as well as Legoland itself, pays most of their American employees less than Walmart. Oftentimes, employees love the job, but ultimately can't afford to keep it. This causes a near 90% turnover rate. This is just about everywhere in the entertainment industry. General rule of thumb, if the job is low skill and fun, it won't pay much because it's super easy to replace people. The other side of this same principle also explains why actuaries make so much money. High skill and boring equals good money? Yep. Why else would anybody do it? If you have the skills to become an actuary, then you can pretty much do anything else that isn't mind-numbing boring, with a bit of training. Being an actuary isn't that bad. Some of us like spreadsheets. The work is far from mind-numbing. What does being an actuary really entail? How much do you make? How do I get a job being an actuary? I know someone that makes over $100,000 for being an actuary. Not bad for someone that's under 30. Ask to have the late fee waived. I literally cannot do anything with it until you specifically ask. So you have a late fee of $30 on this. Gee, that's a lot. Why is it so much? That's the late fee we have. I do apologize for that inconvenience. Well, I guess I'll have to pay it then. Okay, so your bill is $150. Do you realize how much that is? Yes. And I do apologize for the inconvenience. Well, can you do something about it? Yes. Now I can because you asked. Please stop making me feel guilty that you paid your bill late. I had this happen with my power company. The bill was due 1 week before my paycheck and in the summer months was always in flux, so I could never budget it properly or I would under budget it. It was my first year living in this particular condo, so I finally called up after having my service disconnected twice. Look, I'm having trouble meeting this payment schedule. Is there any way I can pay an extra amount to prorate onto next month's bill or something so I can offset the payments by a week? No, but we could just move your due date back by a week. Splup. Okay, that works too. I work for a web design development agency in Canada. Clients think they pay us to do the work. the reality. We charge anywhere from $5,000 to $200,000 plus for web projects. We take 90% of those projects and outsource them to India for $200. The projects come back built so poorly, we spend months fixing them. The CEO laughs to the bank. I don't agree with the process, but that's why I quit and start a new job next week. Wouldn't it be easier to just build them yourself at this point? Right? That's what I've said. No one cares here. That's why I'm leaving.